Imagine you've been assigned a project where you're working on a video streaming platform and your job is to render a list of movie posters. Like any good front-end developer, once we see a lot of repetition, our first instinct is to try and turn them into components. In this lesson, we'll be taking this movie poster scenario to learn about some best practices and techniques for creating a component with props. Let's start by breaking down this component into its major properties. The first property that jumps out to me at least is the featured image, which we'll go ahead and call image. Then we have the movie title, which we'll simply call title, the length of the movie, which we'll call length, and finally, we want to indicate to users when the movie has been watched. Now that we know our four major properties, this is how we might want to use it inside of a component. Here we have our movie poster component with the image, title, length, and watched set with the various properties. When looking at how this component might be written at a lower level, a common way for defining props is the array syntax method, where the developer assigns props by passing an array of strings. However, if we go back to our component, there are some common issues that often come up when it comes to using the array syntax. To start, what happens if a developer forgets to pass down the image prop? Or worse, what if they forget to include the title? All of a sudden, we have a movie poster that is basically useless to our users. In addition, if we take a look at how the movie time is displayed, there are lots of ways that this can be formatted. We can assign units to make it more clear to the user, or we can even write it out even longer. But in the worst case of scenarios, what happens when something completely different shows up in your prop that you weren't anticipating? For example, like a backend API changes and all of a sudden you have this ugly object showing up in your movie length spot. This is just one of those oh my gosh situations that you just never want to see in production. Looking back at our code, there are some problems with the way that this is written. For example, how do we make the data consistent? And what happens when a developer forgets a critical prop? And though it's not immediately obvious, is it really necessary for us to pass every single prop every time if we know what the value might be in most scenarios? So you might be thinking, there's gotta be a better way. And don't worry, there is. Focusing just on our script block now. Instead of using the array syntax method, I propose instead to use the object syntax for defining your props instead. Let's take a closer look at the length prop to understand why. When defining a prop, there are three fundamental questions that you need to answer. The first of which is, what data type should this prop expect? Most of us are familiar with the common JavaScript types string, number, boolean, array, and object. But there are some additional types that you might want to be aware of, such as date, function, and symbol. In the case of length, we're currently defining it as a type number, since we'll use a computed property to generate the format ourselves separately. But what happens if we have a requirement where we need to be able to provide a custom format to the movie length? Wouldn't it be nice if it could accept a string as well? You might notice in the question that I mentioned data types and not just the singular data type. That's because you can actually provide multiple data types to your prop by simply defining it with an array. Our length now takes a number and string as possible data types. And with that, we've taken care of the first problem of making our data consistent. The next fundamental question is whether or not this prop is critical. Just as we saw with the movie poster when the image and title disappeared, oftentimes there are critical props that we need to make sure every component has at all times, otherwise the component is basically useless. To do this, all you need to do is add the required property with the value of true to your prop. And now our second problem is taken care of. Finally, we want to know whether or not we can provide a default state for most use cases. As we can see for this length property, we're going to go ahead and assume that most movies are 90 minutes by default. And with that, we no longer need to pass every prop every time, since we can define default values on our props. However, you might be thinking to yourself, something looks funny. If you have a default value, is it really still necessary to have the required property? And the answer is nope. By setting a default value, the prop is already technically required at all times, except now you have a default value to always fall back on. And you only need to pass the prop if you want to override it. So we don't need the required prop anymore since there's a default value. And as developers, we're really happy because that's one less line of code we need to worry about. With our newfound knowledge, let's go ahead and take what we originally defined and use what we just learned to define our new props. For our image, rather than simply requiring it to be true, we'll add a default placeholder so that in the event there's no image, we still have something show up nicely for the user. For the movie title, it'll still stay the same with the type string and required true because it's difficult for us to provide a default state that would make sense to the user. For the length, just as we did before, we've condensed it now to accept both number and string with a default of 90. And for watch, rather than simply requiring it, we're going to give it a default as false, since most movies will start out unwatched. And with that, our props are defined in a way that's easy to understand and makes other developers' lives a lot easier. Let's review. In this lesson, we've learned that when it comes to defining props, it's best to use the object syntax method for defining props. However, the array syntax is still perfectly valid, especially when you're prototyping or just need to get something up and running quickly. And when you're defining props using the object syntax method, there are 3 fundamental questions to always ask yourself. 1, what data types should this prop accept? 2, is this prop critical? And 3, is there a default state that we can set to make it easier for our developers going forward? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.